What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 Stoic teachings that will change your life, or at least they changed my life, and I'm sure that if you incorporate these teachings into the way you act and think, they will change your life for the better too. Now, before I get into the teachings themselves, I just want to say some things about Stoicism in general. Stoicism is an ancient philosophy that goes back over 2,000 years. And while it does have some very valuable teachings, I don't necessarily agree with and advocate for living the Stoic life as a whole. And this is mainly because it is aligned with Stoicism to sort of repress emotions. And I don't think that that's a very healthy approach. Like I said, the school of thought is thousands of years old. So although it has some very good teachings that have clearly withstood the test of time, it's also a little bit outdated, and modern psychology and research has gone on to prove that repressing your emotions isn't necessarily a healthy way to deal with them. But there are very valuable teachings, like I said, and I'm going to share with you 3, or what I think are some of the 3 most valuable teachings. I want to give credit to Marcus Aurelius, who is an ancient emperor who documented some of his ideas in a diary that then got published as a book called Meditations long after his death. So you can go check out that book to see more about Stoicism and to get a little more insight on what he thought. So the first teaching, Marcus Aurelius said, "Life is but what you deem it. Life is opinion." And this goes hand in hand with the saying, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. What this teaching is essentially saying is perspective is everything. So next time you find yourself in something that you might think is like a negative situation or something that you might think is harming you, it's important to recognize that it's not the thing itself that is bringing you harm. It's your interpretation or your perception of the situation that you are experiencing suffering from. Now, of course, it's perfectly natural that if you're being physically beaten or something like that, it's natural that you're going to feel upset. You're going to feel sad. You're going to feel scared. However, most of the suffering in our life comes from perceptions of less extreme situations. So, for example, we might suffer because somebody cut us off in traffic and we get very upset about that. Or we might get upset and angry or maybe embarrassed, any emotion that you might deem as negative because somebody insults you. But it's not the insult that actually makes you suffer. And it's not the fact that somebody cut you off. It's your reaction and your perception of the events that go on the outside. So the main way that you can integrate this teaching of your perception shapes your life and really shapes everything, the way you feel, the way you act, the way you behave, is to get to a place where your mind is trained enough to a point that you are aware of the fact that it's not the external situations that affect you, it's your response and your reaction to the external situations that are really affecting you. When you recognize that, you're going to be so much more empowered, and you're naturally going to be able to realize that your suffering is kind of in your own hands, so to speak. And naturally, what that will do is lead to less suffering. More awareness and less suffering, which is always an equation. The level of awareness that an individual has is always going to be in an inverse relationship with how much one suffers. This also ties into the idea of only focusing on what you can control rather than what you can't control. Anytime you find yourself fretting over or being frustrated over a given situation, it's very valuable to divide the situation up into 2 categories: the things you can control and the things that you can't control. If it's out of your control, then there's no reason to stress over it or be angry over it or suffer because of it. There's nothing you can do about it. So you might as well just focus on what's in your control to go and make the situation more favorable. The second teaching. Marcus Aurelius said, "If thou would know commitment, let thy deeds be few. Better still, limit them strictly to such as are essential." So the main teaching behind this quote is prioritization of your actions and time. A lot of us spend a lot of time doing things that are really negligible and at the end of the day don't really serve us, don't really serve any greater purpose that we're going out to achieve or accomplish, or don't even serve our own health or peace of mind. And they're actually doing the opposite. A lot of the times the activities that we do, such as scrolling on our phones, on social media, or binge watching television, a lot of passive entertainment It doesn't serve us. So if you prioritize your time better and your actions better, you're going to spend less time doing those things and you're going to spend more time doing the actions and doing the things that are more valuable to you. And if you don't know what those things are, go ahead and get clear. Clarity is very important. Get clear on what it is that is valuable and that you should be prioritizing. For me, the things that are very valuable are spending time with loved ones, working towards my channel here, meditating, doing a lot of my hobbies that I'm very, very passionate about, such as mixed martial arts, music, sports, spending time in nature, meditation, and educating myself, reading books. So for me, that's what's most valuable to me. That's what I'm going to spend the bulk of my time doing in any given day. So that's the way that I've integrated this teaching into my life. And like I said, for you to integrate it into your life, it's very important to get clear on what is valuable and what is meaningful to you, and then commit to doing those things and commit to not doing the things that you don't find valuable, that you think are a waste of your time. The third teaching. This third teaching really just goes to reinforce the second teaching. And this third teaching can be summed up with two Latin words that you might be familiar with. Memento mori. That means remember death. Now, a lot of people are very touchy around the subject of death. They kind of tiptoe around it. They don't really think about death too much. It's a little bit of a sad topic. It could be a little bit scary for some people. But I think it is so valuable and so important to remember the fact that your time is limited here and that your days are numbered. You will die one day. All of us will. To remind myself of this, I actually have it written on my whiteboard over here. I'm not sure if my whiteboard is in the camera shot or not, but I have Memento Mori written in the top corner of my whiteboard in big letters. So every time I look over at it, I remember, oh yeah, I'm gonna die one day. And the reason that this is so valuable to contemplate your death and to remember the fact that you're going to die is because it reinforces the prioritization of your time, actions, and energy. You are only going to do the things that matter most to you if you only have a couple days left to live. But in the grand scheme of things, you don't really have so much time on this earth. Treat every day like it's your last. That's really another way of articulating this teaching of memento mori, remember death, is to treat every day like it's your last. And what that's going to do is make sure you're not doing stuff that deep down you know is stupid and is a waste of time. And it's going to make you take more passionate action, and you're going to be a more driven individual who's a lot more capable of getting stuff done. So I'm a big believer in not wasting any time. Do I relax? Do I, take in entertainment? Of course, because that's very valuable to me. Not just, passive entertainment, but I love a good movie. I'm actually quite a big movie fan. And when I watch a movie, it's not that I'm just sitting there and binge watching movies and wasting my time. I'm very intentional about it because I'm appreciating art when I'm watching a movie. So I'm not saying you can never watch a movie again because it's a waste of your time. If watching movies is something that you enjoy doing with your time, given that it's in moderation, and that you're doing it intentionally, go right ahead. The same goes for anything. Anything could be a good use of your time. Just because I don't find it a good use of my time doesn't mean it's not a good use of your time. So this really comes down to the individual on what you think is valuable and is a good use of your own time. We all have our own values and we're all entitled to them. But the teaching here is fundamental of remember death, because you're going to be more driven to doing the things that you want to do the most. You're going to be more driven to make a difference in the world, maybe the difference that you're afraid to try and make. When you remember that you're going to die, that fear diminishes. Because really what it does is it kind of zooms out too. Remembering death is another way of remembering that a lot of the problems that you have, that you might stress over, that are actually kind of insignificant in the big picture, it helps you see them in the big picture. You zoom out by remembering the fact that you're going to die one day. You're just like a little tiny specimen on a freaking floating rock in space. So at the end of the day, a lot of the small stuff that you stress over, you're going to be less stressed over it when you remember your fate of certain death. So some people might think that that sounds a little bit depressing, but it's really inspiring, it's motivating, and it's empowering to remember death. And when you think about it in this way, I'm sure that it will change your life for the better, as it has mine. So those are the 3 Stoic teachings that I wanted to share with you guys today. If you integrate them into your life, they will make a huge difference for you. Perspective is everything. Prioritize your time and your actions, and remember death. That's it for today, guys. If you enjoyed this, be sure to give it a like, subscribe to my channel for more valuable content. Maybe share this with a friend if you think somebody needs to see this, and let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good one.